Hey guys, Dr. Greg here. Welcome to our sleep and slumber workshop. I'm excited to share this. I personally love sleep. I don't know anyone who doesn't. And sleep is such an important topic because it's literally how our body heals and it helps us to feel how we want to feel throughout the day, whether that's feeling energy, whether that's the ability to lose weight, just to be able to function, to be able to do the things that you want to do to have a good quality of life. You have to be able to recuperate and recover your body, and that's what sleep allows us to do. And I just want to share with an update. A lot of these webinars, I'll share pictures of our children, and here's them as they're getting older. This is just recently. My wife is so good at taking pictures. I was looking through pictures on my own phone, and I'm just terrible at taking pictures. So I texted her. I'm like, "Do you have updated pictures of the kids?" She's like, "Yeah, here." I'm like, "Oh my gosh, these are like studio quality." So you can see there's Michael, who's almost 7 at the time I'm recording this. Jake in the middle is just turned 4. And then we have Jocelyn, who's almost not a baby anymore. She's almost 2, and they're just a bundle of joy. And I'm kind of basing this entire talk. I had an epiphany the other day is what I want to get at, is that how you can have better sleep is to basically treat yourself like a toddler. That might sound a little funny, but we have we like to, as much as we can, to have a very specific sleep schedule and routine for our kids, and making sure we don't deviate from that and we stick to it, whether it's to timing or to different rituals. Make sure that they get the best quality of sleep, and make sure that as parents, we're not pulling our hair out every single night trying to get them to bed on time. So what if we applied those same principles to ourselves? How we treat ourselves the hour or two before bed, whether it's getting off of technology, putting down your phone, having that cool down time and wind down time, avoiding certain types of foods. Because I don't know if you're anything like me as a parent, but if my kids, they're running for the kitchen just before bed. They're so hungry. And actually we found out that that's actually a sign that they're tired. They're ready to go to sleep because their brain, we're so obsessed with our feeling good and having good energy that we want to keep it going. And kids are this way too. They feel themselves wind down and they're like, I need food to wind myself back up. Or like as an adult, we're like, I need more sugar, or I need a coffee, or I need this caffeine, when in reality, we just need to allow ourselves to calm down, to go into that state of getting to sleep. And that's where rituals and habits come into play, and that's why they're so important. And this is so important because it's affecting so many people. 50 to 70 million Americans have some sort of sleep disorder. So the same study that named this also wanted to say that 1 in 3 adults do not get adequate amount of sleep, and 40% of adults accidentally fall asleep during the day. Really? I was a little surprised by that. I don't know if I've accidentally fell asleep. I've definitely pulled off the dad nap on the couch here and there, but 40% of adults report accidentally falling asleep during the day. This tells me that people are tired, they're fatigued, and they're weary because of it. I mean, just you look at numbers of sleep apnea, CPAP machines, snoring, palate issues. You see every other commercial on TV is something to do with sleep, whether it's a drug or whether it's a melatonin or a supplement. Sleep is such a big industry in terms of getting people on medications or supplements, when in reality there's things that we can start to do about it. So here's my quote for the day. Sleep is way too important for it to be a problem. I'm going to repeat that. You sleeping well through the night is way too important for it to be a problem. And I'm kind of stealing this. We did a dedication for our first 2 children at our church a few years ago, and we sat through the kids' dedication class. They said something really cool, is that they were kind of going through parenting and bringing your kids up to know and love the Lord. And the topic of bedtime came up. And one of the leaders said, bedtime comes along way too often for it to be a problem. Like, as a parent, how stressful it can be if bedtime is off. It's like something you could be dreading every night. Well, imagine as an adult, if you're dealing with insomnia, waking up in the middle of the night, not being able to get to sleep. Like, that's something that comes around literally every day. And it's so important that it just can't be a problem. So we're going to name the problems, but then we're going to get right into solutions here. So when it comes down to it, A lack of sleep is going to lead to disease. This might be surprising to some people, but a lack of sleep affects the function of your entire body, which can then lead to long-term, really bad effects. So when sleep is limited or restricted, it's almost bound to lead to disease. Think about a time when you've been busy and sleep took the back burner. What usually happens next? You get sick. I mean, almost any time I can think of times that I got a cold or got the flu or felt run down, what was happening the 2 weeks leading up to that? Usually I was pushing myself too hard. I was pushing off sleep. I wasn't taking a nap that I needed, or I wasn't taking the break that I needed. When you push your body too hard, it's going to break. And so you just look at this list: heart disease, diabetes, high blood pressure, stroke, obesity. So right away, you're looking at major organ systems here: liver, kidneys, pancreas, heart, and then obesity, which affects virtually every aspect of your health. These are things where you can move yourself into a state of disease process and being trapped in your own body, not only being tired, but being unable to lose weight. And then that leads to bad habits. It becomes this vicious cycle. So here's some signs, because you might be thinking, you know what, I'm not dealing with those disease process, but here's some signs that you do need better sleep. Number one, and this is in no particular order of importance or anything like that, but your blood pressure starts to go up. You're noticing that your blood pressure is going up. You're feeling your heartbeat in your head or in your neck, or you're almost like feeling your pulse. This is a generalized sign that your body is under stress. Your body's under stress. You're unable to focus or remember. I mean, oh my gosh, once it gets too late, my wife and I, we joke that 90% of our fights happen after 10 o'clock or 10 p.m. Because when you're tired, you can't focus. I mean, have you ever pushed yourself driving or on a trip or traveling? It can be really exhausting, and that affects your ability to recall short-term and long-term information. Frequent coughs or colds. So if you're finding yourself succumbing to cold and flu season or even throughout the year, again, that has to do with your immune system, and your immune system is dependent upon getting proper recovery and rest. Sleeping late on the weekends. Now, I used to be guilty of this until we had young children. Oh man, I would just love to sleep in. I would sleep, like, say I would go to bed at 10 o'clock during the week and wake up at, say, 6 o'clock. It's usually that time frame, those 8 hours. But then on the weekends, if I could, I could sleep till 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, even later, to be able to get that rest. Now, that was in my early marriage days or college days. That's not even a reality for me anymore. I mean, I don't even need to set an alarm clock half the time. My kids are my alarm clock. But sleeping late on the weekends, or feeling like you need to sleep late on the weekends, or like you're telling yourself like, oh, I just need a big sleep, or I need a big sleep, I need a big sleep. If you're consistently saying that, you're not getting that quality sleep. So it is about quantity. You want to get enough time, but then you want to make sure that your quality is there too. Blood sugar, similar to blood pressure, blood sugar creeping up, that can be a sign that your liver is under stress. Your triglycerides can also creep up. Being able to shed those extra pounds, which I touched on a minute ago. Being trapped in your body when you're not sleeping properly, your metabolism is affected, and that affects your quality of sleep and also your ability to lose weight. Feeling like you have to consume caffeine daily. The feeling like if you don't, because there's a difference here. There's a difference between enjoying a cup of coffee. There's a difference between, enjoying a cup of tea. Like I do have a tea in the afternoon. It just helps to give me a little nudge. I don't feel like I'm absolutely addicted to it. Can I be a little dependent on it? I don't know. Maybe I am. Maybe I have to lessen my caffeine intake. But I know people who drink 3, 4, 5, 6 cups of coffee. I know people in my own extended family, I'm not going to name names here, but that drink multiple cups of coffee a day out of habit and out of necessity to get through the day, and that's not good. Hitting the snooze button. Again, I don't have the luxury of this. This is just a bad habit. I wish there wasn't the snooze button, because what do you get? An extra 9 minutes? Is that going to change your life that much more? If you're picking one thing, I'm about picking one thing. If you can just stop hitting the snooze button, you're going to help yourself a lot. Getting that 9 minutes of extra sleep is not going to make a difference. Why is it 9 minutes anyways? Who came up with that? Irritable and moody, like your brain, when your brain's under stress, it's not like your back where your back is like, I'm in pain. I feel pain, I feel tension, I feel stress in my back or my neck. It's not like it gets a headache or anything like that. But your brain gives off signals like anxiety, depression, feelings of guilt, shame, irritability, moodiness, your fuse basically starts to go down. Think of your brain like a candle, like you've heard the term burning the candle on both ends. Many of us do that. We burn the candle on both ends. The idea here is we want to put more wax on the candle. And this goes right into the 5 essentials. So the 5 essentials, this is the basis of our office. This is the basis of Max Living. It's our entire philosophy. This is the bedrock that we stand on. That if you can start to incorporate and better yourself in each of these 5 essentials, not only will you have better sleep, but you're just going to have better function throughout the day and throughout your life. So number 1 being spinal alignment, clean whole food nutrition, your mindset, and a lot of this, your mindset has to do with what you're allowing your ears to hear, what you're allowing your eyes to see, what you're allowing your tongue to speak. A lot of that is under your control. Your mindset is under your control, the things that you allow into your body and allow to come out of your body. Moving your body on a daily basis. Now, this could be a short run, a short walk, a stretching routine. It could be a weightlifting routine, but you want to move your body on a daily basis. And then also minimizing toxins. This is a huge topic, sometimes a misunderstood topic, but the chemicals that you put in your body, the medications that you ingest, the food that you ingest can be laced with harmful chemicals, which can interrupt your sleep as well as a myriad of other functions throughout your body. Now, sleep is our restorative process. Our body always knows what it needs at the right time, and it requires the right amount of quantity of sleep. But I would say most importantly, quality of sleep. A good story, this past summer at the time I'm recording this, I was going up to Canada on a trip. So my favorite band is Metallica. Judge me if you want, I don't care. They're my favorite band. And they were putting on a 2-part show. So they were doing a summer tour where they would play one show on a Friday and one show on a Sunday. And they weren't going to repeat their songs. It was going to be 2 very unique concerts. And I managed to organize 5 other friends, 2 of my cousins, and then 3 very close friends up in Canada. We were getting together. Some of these guys I hadn't seen in months. Some of them I hadn't seen in years, in the case of one of my cousins. So needless to say, I was going up on a Friday, coming up on a Monday. It was a guy's trip. I was excited. That's like when I go on a trip, my wife is just like, oh my gosh, like I've never seen someone who gets that excited to go on vacation. Like I love vacation. I love trips. And don't get me wrong, I love my life. I love what I do for a living. I love that too. But I just love getting away and I get super excited for it. So I was like packed a week before. Now, normally I would have trouble sleeping like the night before going away. This is not a joke. I had trouble sleeping 3 nights before going away on this trip. I hardly slept. So I was leaving on the Friday. I hardly slept. The Tuesday was an okay sleep. The Wednesday night I had a horrible sleep. And by horrible, I mean like I was just like jacked up. I was so excited. I had so much excitement hormones going through my body that I could hardly sleep. And then the night before I felt anxiety because I was worried like I'm not going to be able to sleep tonight. I'm going to be exhausted the entire weekend. And I asked my wife to pray for me, and I said, can you pray that I get like a full night's sleep? And she goes, I don't even know if, it's just funny. She's like, I'm not sure God can even do that for you. You're so excited. She's like, she said the coolest prayer. She prayed for me that whatever sleep that I got, whatever amount of sleep that I got would be enough for me to have enough energy through the day. And that was cool because I didn't get like a ton of sleep as far as quantity, because instead of waking up at 5:30 in the morning, I was up at like 3 in the morning, wide awake. But the quality of sleep that I got was enough. So a lot of times we have to be intentional about not only when we go to sleep, but how we're going to sleep. And this video is really going to hit that home, just how important sleep is for your body.
Bad news for all of us insomniacs out here, but as we do more research into the brain, we're increasingly realizing that sleep is one of the most essential things we need to be functioning, healthy human beings. And new research looks into how sleep helps us maintain clean brains. But what does that mean? And why is that important? Well, to understand this latest news, we have to go back to 2013, when a study of mouse brains found that while those furry little rodents slept, neurotoxic waste products got swept away. Some kind of cleaning crew comes in overnight and gets rid of built-up stuff like beta amyloid, that sticky peptide that can aggregate into plaques and disrupt brain function. Amyloid plaques are highly associated with the occurrence of diseases like Alzheimer's, and the amyloid hypothesis suggests that amyloid plaques could be the primary cause of that devastating disease. So it's real nice that your brain can get rid of it while you sleep. That 2013 study saw an interesting relationship. While the mice slept, their lymphatic systems opened up. This let in a big wash of cerebrospinal fluid, or CSF, which seemed to clear these waste products away. And just so you know, CSF is a watery, clear substance that surrounds your brain and spinal cord and acts kind of like a little cushion to protect your brain and provide it with nutrients. A team at Boston University took this 2013 finding and wanted to know exactly how. In this new study they published in Science, the researchers delved into what about sleep was so special. Why did a sleep state in particular allow for these changes in the brain? The team got human participants to fall asleep inside an fMRI machine, which seems like quite a feat in itself, and which let the team measure both the blood oxygen levels in the participants' brains and show the flux of cerebrospinal fluid. They also measured the electrical currents in subjects' brains using an EEG cap. The results gave the team a pretty clear answer, one that came in waves. We've been finding out more over the past several years about the phases our brains go through while we sleep, and how those phases are essential to information processing and memory formation. And it turns out it's not just during rapid eye movement sleep or REM sleep that our brains are consolidating information and committing it to our long-term memory, but they're doing it during non-REM sleep too. And in humans, these two states of sleep, REM and non-REM, alternate throughout the night. Non-REM sleep is divided into 3 stages, and that third stage is our deepest state of sleep, called slow wave sleep. During slow wave sleep, electrical activity slows down and syncs up. So our neurons start to fire in sync with one another at quite a slow frequency that neuroscientists call delta waves. And while slow wave sleep has been shown to be essential to memory formation, this latest study is the first to demonstrate exactly how those slow waves keep our brains clean and healthy. From all of their many measurements, the Boston team saw that during slow wave sleep, the brain was actually being washed by waves of cerebrospinal fluid, like a little free nighttime spa for your brain. See, when neurons start to fire in sync, they're all electrically active at the same time, and that means there's empty time in between activity. When those neurons aren't firing, they need less oxygen, so less blood is flowing to the brain, but cerebrospinal fluid comes in and fills in that extra space. So this pattern in CSF flow is intrinsically linked to neuron firing. The neurons light up, the neurons go dark, the CSF comes in, the CSF goes out. It's all very relaxing. This study not only found a direct relationship between electrical activity in the brain and this CSF cleansing mechanism, but also confirmed that an increase in CSF is linked to an increased clearing of neurotoxic waste products like beta amyloid. This indicates that sleep, and slow wave sleep in particular, is essential to clearing out all the gunk in your brain garbage, if you will. And the thing is, we still don't understand a whole lot about neurodegenerative diseases like Alzheimer's. We know that we see these buildups of amyloid plaques, we know that a protein called tau causes damage to neurons, but so far, our forays into developing treatments that target those variables haven't been very fruitful. So improved understanding, like this new study provides of how the brain clears out toxic buildup naturally, could help us combat neurodegenerative diseases in novel and innovative ways. Plus, it's just a huge inspiration to get better sleep, and more of it. I'm gonna get right on that. If you want to learn more about Alzheimer's, check out this video here from our series Sick, and make sure you subscribe to Seeker for all of your neuroscience updates. If you have another brain question in mind that you want us to cover, let us know down in the comments below. And as always, thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.
All right, very cool. So I really like that video, very informative. shows that not only when we're sleeping do we get that rejuvenation, but these chemicals, these amyloid plaque, like they were talking about, literally gets taken out of our brain, so that we're detoxing throughout the day or throughout our sleep, and just how important it is. So three types of sleep issues we're going to tackle today. So number one, you have an occasional problem sleeping. So this could be, every now and then, like someone says, every now and then I wake up in the middle of the night, or every now and then I have trouble getting to sleep. Typically that has to do with sporadic levels, increased levels of stress in your life. You have a crazy day or a crazy week or a crazy month, and that's going to affect your sleep occasionally. That can be more easily managed through your lifestyle. Second one is a more frequent sleep problem. And this is telling you, so if you're noticing like certain times of the week, like I have trouble getting to sleep Sunday night or Wednesday evening, or I wake up in the middle of the night on Thursday, there's something that you can kind of put your finger on, that there's a habit that's forming there that is not good. And that's exactly the issue. The issue here is that you need to rehaul or really look at your habits with going to sleep and staying asleep. And the third one is a clinical sleep problem. So you have a diagnosis, whether it's sleep apnea, whether it's insomnia, where this is like almost a constant issue, that if you're not taking some sort of supplement or if you're not taking some sort of medication, you're not going to get to sleep. And this is more serious, and it usually means that it's more chronic, and it's been there longer, and it can be a little harder to correct. But I just want to give you hope that over time these type of things can resolve themselves, because as we were talking about, is your body is designed to heal itself. If you just give the body what it needs, remove what it doesn't need, it is designed to heal itself. And sleep, all these symptoms that I talked about, it's just the warning light, like the oil light or the engine light coming on in your car. So a leak in the roof is only a problem when it rains. It's not the rain that is the problem, it's the leak in the roof. It's not the oil light or the engine light it's the problem, it's what that indicator is telling you. So the poor sleep is not necessarily the problem, it's the symptom of something else, a symptom of some sort of function within the body that's not operating properly, or a function or a result of your habits not being the way that they should be. And this comes down to essentially our sympathetic versus our parasympathetic nervous system. So we have two sides to our nervous system, kind of like the gas and the brake. So your sympathetic is like hitting the gas, and that's your fight or flight. Unfortunately, most of us are in this mode throughout the day. So imagine, the analogy they use a lot is if you're going to go walk across the street, all of a sudden a car comes. Like immediately hormones kick on so that you can run and get out of the way. So you're in danger, and right away your adrenaline goes up, your cortisol goes up, so that in a short-term situation, your body can get you out of harm. That's called fight or flight. Okay? The problem becomes is when that response is happening throughout the day. You get in an argument with your spouse, you're going to a job that you don't like, you're sitting in traffic, you're stressed about money, you're looking at the news, all of these different things start to wreak havoc on your stress hormones, and they're constantly elevated, and you become in that situation. Now, when you're stressed out, your body does not want you to go to sleep because it wants you to be on high alert. So imagine you were out camping, okay, and there was news or reports that a bear was nearby. How well are you going to sleep? Or you hear noises, or you hear a sound in the middle of the night at your house. How well do you sleep? Not well. And that's on purpose, because your body is like, okay, I need to stay up. I need to be aware of my surroundings so that I can either fight or flight. Now, the opposite of that is the parasympathetic. It's your rest and relax. This Thanksgiving especially activates this side of your nervous system. Is typically Thanksgiving is a more relaxed day, or it should be. You're sitting a lot, you're watching football, you're with family. It should be pretty relaxed for the most part. And you're eating a lot of food. When you eat food, that activates your parasympathetic nervous system. When you eat a lot of food, like Thanksgiving dinner, it's going to really activate it. And then you notice it's like if you're like the old uncle on the couch and you fall asleep like this, That's because you ate so much food, you activated that part of your system that you go into that rest and relaxation phase. Now, am I telling you to go eat a bunch of food and that's going to get you into it? No, but oddly enough, things that can temporarily increase your serotonin levels and put you in a more parasympathetic state is sugar and certain forms of fats. So think ice cream, think chocolate, like not good chocolate, think candy, think these comfort foods. So a lot of times, instead of turning to more of the healthy rituals and habits that I'm going to talk about, is people try to get them out of that sympathetic state by the wrong means, is they turn to bad foods or comfort foods or comfort activities that are not actually good for their body. So this would be an example of a big bowl of ice cream, sugar at the end of the day to try to relax, drinking alcohol, watching excess TV, spending too much time on your phone. By doing that, short term, you might feel a little better, and we've all been there before, but long term, it's not a long-term fix. So we want to take steps to try to balance out your nervous system. And when you're not sleeping, it's like a vicious cycle, because when your sympathetic nervous system is up, now that leads to poor sleep. And then when you get poor sleep, it gets worse because now your body's not going into that rest phase. So you're really not going into parasympathetic. Now you go into an overactive sympathetic nervous system. So you're in fight or flight, not only throughout the day, but then also at night too, and that leads you to waking up in the middle of the night, waking up at 2, 3, 4 in the morning, and it's having trouble getting back to sleep. So just imagine if you lived how God designed you to live. If you were living these 5 essentials, like looking back at those 5 essentials, if you said to yourself, okay, if I was just like an A+ student in these 5 essentials, how well would I be doing with my sleep? Okay, so imagine a life where your nerve system was working at 100%, where if you exercised every day, if you weren't exposing yourself to toxins, if you weren't exposing yourself to so much stress, if you're eating the way that you would, guess what? Your sleep is going to be normal too. It is going to happen. What I want to get across in this slide is that if you do the things that you're supposed to do, because sleep is a consequence of your lifestyle, or quality sleep is a consequence of your lifestyle, it's going to turn around, it's going to get better. So let's go through that. 3 steps to fixing proper sleep. Step 1 is moving your body and eating the right food. So step 1 here, and this should be it's an easy one and a hard one, okay? So it's easy to read, but it can be hard to do. So you want to eliminate these things before bed, and really you should be eliminating them all the time. Refined carbohydrates. So what would that look like? Like refined carbs would be like cake, pasta, breads, chips, pretzels, donuts, brownies, pie. These are kind of the obvious things. Sugary sweets, candy, chocolate. And I'm going to use the word chocolate like not good, healthy chocolate, because you can have dark chocolate, but not, imagine yourself eating the bad stuff. Juice, so like high sugar, like sodas, juices that contain a lot of like added sugar, and then also high glycemic fruit. Now, this one I'm just adding in, if fruit is the worst thing that you're eating, I mean, you're in pretty good shape. In fact, I would rather you eat fruit than this other stuff. So I'm putting that in sparingly, but is it good to eat a whole bowl of pineapple or watermelon right before bed? No, of course not. You want to eat these things more sparingly, but if you're eating fruit instead of this other stuff, I applaud you. That's really good. So some things that I personally do, if I'm actually pretty hungry, so I had a big day, and I know I need to, get a little snack before bed. So one thing that I was actually drinking during this presentation is I have our protein powder. It's the bone broth protein powder that we have in the office. It's the chocolate one. And what I do is I put that with like warm water. So we have like an adjustable tea setting. So I put it to about 160 degrees. So warm water, bone broth protein, stir that up. And I put a little like either almond milk or goat milk or regular milk, whatever you want to do there with that. So it's basically like healthy chocolate milk. And that's a great way because it's full of protein. It's not super high calorie. There's not really any high carbs in there. And I'm putting in some good fats with the animal-based milk product. And that way I'm giving myself good fat and good protein so that I'm satiating my hunger in the right way versus trying to slam down a whole bunch of carbs before bed, because what carbs are going to do is that's going to bump up your blood sugar. And when you bump up your blood sugar, that's going to bump up your insulin. When you're bumping up your insulin in the middle of the night, that can often make you wake up in the middle of the night. So if you're eating these late night snacks, most likely you're also waking up in the middle of the night really hungry. If you're waking up hungry in the middle of the night, the timing of your insulin pathway is off because of this late night eating. And then the other thing is that you should be hungry about an hour into waking up. So you want to be hungry when you wake up, not in the middle of the night. That's a sign of a healthy metabolism. Limiting caffeine. I would say, I'm going to read what I wrote here. Consider reducing your caffeine. You might want to think about cutting out caffeine after the morning hours at the very least. Even those who claim they only consume caffeine in the morning typically do so to kickstart their day. In fact, I was watching this podcast where a gentleman had cut out caffeine. He was a self-proclaimed caffeine addict, and he cut it out for 3 months to see how that would change his life. And what he found out, what he learned over that time, is that most people, when they're drinking caffeine in the morning, are actually satisfying withdrawal symptoms. They're not really they feel like they're giving themselves the caffeine, they're giving themselves a boost. Really, that first cup of coffee is just about getting rid of the caffeine withdrawal symptoms. So that would be like being extremely tired, shakiness, irritable, feeling like you need, when you really need caffeine, all you're doing is kicking your adrenal glands. So relying on caffeine too heavily can strain your adrenal glands, potentially leading to decreased energy levels and disrupted sleep. It's advisable not to make it a regular habit. Keep in mind the effects of caffeine can linger for as long as 12 hours. So if you're having trouble sleeping, if you are going to drink caffeine, I would say drink coffee, keep it to the morning hours so that you give your body that time to process that out. Do you know how caffeine works? Similar-ish chemical structure to nicotine, and it stimulates your adrenal glands to improve, adrenaline is something that's released from your adrenal glands, and it gives you that buzz, that feeling of energy. But really all you're doing, it's like riding a horse and whipping the horse, and it's giving you that little temporary increase in speed. But if you whip the horse too much, the horse is going to fall down, and that's what can happen over time, is you can be too reliant on caffeine to get through your day. So again, reduce caffeine or switch to something with less caffeine content, like green tea or chai tea, white tea. It's about half or less of the caffeine content as a cup of coffee, so it's going to be more of a nudge versus a kick. Again, more of a nudge versus a kick. Limiting alcohol. So alcohol, most of it is derived directly from sugar. So I want you to basically think of alcohol like sugar. It metabolizes into sugar a few hours later in your body, so it really spikes your blood sugar levels. And this is where you hear terms like the beer belly. Where does the beer belly come from? Well, the alcohol is transferred into sugar in your body, and if you drink a lot of alcohol, that sugar in your body is turned to triglycerides. Excess triglycerides that aren't burned off, that's going to turn into belly fat. So your blood sugar levels can rise, and then that's going to crash. So that results, when your sugar levels crash, similar to eating the late night snack, as you raise your blood sugars, it crashes, your body wakes you up and is like, hey, I'm hungry, time to eat. This is why a lot of people, when you drink, you'll want like a late night snack, or remember in the college days you order pizza at midnight or 1 in the morning. Why do you do that? Because your blood sugar is actually crashing. You're not technically hungry, it's that your blood sugar is crashing. Now you're trying to put that back in. So it just turns to sugar. So if you're finding yourself wide awake, I would definitely recommend cutting out alcohol at nighttime. It's just, it's not good. Working out in the morning. Now this is something, so 150, this is a study that's been around forever, but 150 minutes of moderate to vigorous exercise per week resulted in 65% improvement in quality of sleep. Exercise itself is one of the biggest contributors to better sleep. If you were to do pretty much anything else to sleep better, if you just exercise, because if you exercise enough, you can kind of out exercise a lot of your problems to a certain extent. Like say you eat too many calories throughout the day, well, you can burn it off through exercise. Say that you're not sleeping well through the night. Well, if you exercise, you're gonna activate your parasympathetic nervous system. You're going to get around a lot of the effects of coffee and alcohol and things like that just by exercising more. But what if you didn't use exercise like that? What if you just use it to be healthy in the first place? Working out in the morning. I personally have changed. I used to be a huge advocate of working out first thing in the morning, and I did it for years and years, and I just felt like I was running uphill, pun intended. I now work out depending on the day. I like working out between about 11 and 1. That's just the time that I personally like. I feel like my body's strongest at that point, and I can get a good workout in the morning. I just found myself, and again, this is my personal decision, everybody's different. I just found myself it was better for me to just kind of get up and going and get into my day rather than having to worry about working out, because then I felt like when I missed the workout, I was like, oh, I missed it, and I would feel bad. So instead of like trying to just force myself into workout in the morning, I found a time that worked better with my schedule and worked better with my body. So find the time that works better for you. Some people like working out at night, some people in the morning, some people in the mid-morning, the afternoon like I do. Just as long as you're doing it, it's better than not doing it at all. So find the time that works best for you. Sunshine is really important, really important. So to go to sleep, we want to limit the amount of light going in, and I'm going to focus on that in a little bit. But exposure to natural light plays a crucial role in resetting your internal biological clock, your circadian rhythm. That's why the rooster crows at dawn. Morning sunlight kickstarts the production of melatonin, an essential hormone for regulating your sleep. Evening sunset also contributes positively to your body's biological clock. If you ever see a pink sky at night, this is an interesting fact, going out for a walk and staring out to a pink sky at night, they've shown releases lithium in your brain. And lithium is like, you think of like an antidepressant. It's essentially a happy compound. Lithium is. There's also something in your brain called your pineal gland, and your pineal gland, by looking at the sun in the morning, they call it sun staring. And in the very early morning, like a lot of times I'm driving to work in the morning, I do not wear sunglasses in the morning. Again, this is a good action step for people. Try to reduce the amount of times that you're wearing sunglasses, because you want to allow, especially in the morning, that natural sunlight to hit your retina, to hit your pineal gland. That's going to wake you up more than anything else. Because imagine yourself, you get out, you're in your dark house, you get in your car, the sunlight is hitting your face, you put on sunglasses right away, you're not getting all the benefits of that sunlight absorbing into your eyes, into your optic nerve, and then into your pineal gland. So it's so important. The advanced plan. So food itself, again, I'm not going to go on this too much, but if you're sitting in the office, you're watching this, or you're watching this at home, we have resources. If you're sitting watching this in the waiting room right now, I want you to look to your left, or I guess it would be this way, depending on how you're looking. Look to your left near the front desk. There's a wall that says 5 Essentials Resources. So everybody look to your left. You're going to see something that says 5 Essentials Resources, and that's going to have information on the advanced eating plan, the core eating plan, grocery lists, shopping guides, replacement lists. We spent a lot of time putting together these replacement lists where people are, and we call them like the safe swap list, like, oh, I like eating this food, or I like eating pizza, or I like eating this candy, or I like eating this chocolate, or I like eating this ice cream. I'm always like, great, what if you could eat those things but in a healthy way? Have the healthy versions where it's sweetened with like honey or maple syrup or organic cane sugar, instead of high fructose corn syrup and artificial sweeteners and junk like that. So you can still quote unquote, have your cake and eat it too, to a degree. You want to still eat, healthy portion sizes, things like that. But you want to make sure that you're, really getting plugged into these eating plans. So again, look to your left, you'll see the 5 essentials resources right in the office. And I recommend take copies, bring them home, email us. You can schedule coaching calls. We have health coach on site to make sure that you're up to par with your nutrition. Supplements. So I'll just tell you a quick story. So I've been taking Sleep and Mood formula, the one you see on the right there. I've been taking that since 2013 when they came out of it. For the 2 years before that, I was taking 5-HTP, kind of just like a regular 5-HTP supplement. So if you look at Sleep and Mood formula, the main ingredient is called 5-HTP. 5-HTP is the precursor for tryptophan. Tryptophan is a food source. It's an amino acid, but a food source for bacteria in your gut to manufacture serotonin. Serotonin is your satisfaction and happy hormone. When serotonin levels are balanced and adequate, you feel a general sense of satisfaction in your life. You feel a general sense of accomplishment and happiness. When serotonin levels are too high, which is more rare, but it can be high, especially in like teenagers, serotonin can be high, that can lead to feelings of boredom. It's almost like there's too much, like I'm bored. Now, as you become an adult, being bored, you don't have time for that. So most people's serotonin levels are low. And low serotonin levels mean that you feel feelings of dissatisfaction with your life. So if you find yourself saying like, oh, I just need to get away, I need to do something different, I need to dye my hair purple, if I could just do this, that, or the other thing, that's a sign that your serotonin levels could be messed up. And again, it starts in your gut. 95% of serotonin is manufactured in your gut. So Sleep and Mood formula, again, I've been taking it for 10 plus years. It gives you tryptophan, so it's not dependent. It's giving your bacteria the food, and your bacteria decides how much of it wants to take up to make the serotonin. So again, it's not like a melatonin where it's dependent. There's just a touch of melatonin in there, but it's a very small amount. And this is great for helping you to get to sleep. And it also is, 5-HTP is proven to help people who deal with seasonal affective disorder. I used to deal with seasonal affective disorder. It used to be hard for me to even talk about. I used to feel a lot of shame even bringing it up. Now I don't. I feel like I've matured emotionally enough that I can talk about it. But when the calendar would hit like late October into November, I would fall into pretty demonstrable depression. I remember saying that I couldn't stand rainy weather, the dreary weather, the snow, not seeing the sun. I was so focused on the weather. I remember just being like, oh, I hate November. I hate November. I would say that all the time. And you know what now? Like, I like November. November's nice. It's a change of the seasons, change of the trees, Thanksgiving, getting together with family. Like, it's a nice month. Is it the nicest weather-wise? No. But taking 5-HTP, because I realized my body was deficient in tryptophan, and because of that, my serotonin levels were lower. That has helped me to personally regulate my serotonin levels. So it has helped me with seasonal affective disorder. I know dozens of other people, patients of mine over the past 10, 11 years that it's helped them as well, and it might be able to help you or a loved one. So I would recommend Sleep and Mood formula for your mood and help getting to sleep. Now on the other side, we have magnesium glycinate. Think of this supplement as helping you to stay asleep. Magnesium is something we've heard about a lot over the last few years. It's I would say it's the most popular supplement, like pretty much in the world right now. Like, it was a few years ago where it was vitamin D that was really popular. Now it's more magnesium glycinate. And so by taking magnesium at nighttime, like I take it right before bed, about an hour before bed, that's going to help to increase your magnesium levels to help balance your nervous system. It essentially is going to help to skew yourself over towards parasympathetic nervous system versus sympathetic nervous system. Again, sympathetic nervous system is like fight or flight. It's go, go, go. You're burning through all those hormones. By switching more to parasympathetic, that's what the magnesium is going to help you with. And it just helps to balance out your nervous system. So this is hugely important because we just want to get into a good routine and a good habit, similar to with kids. You don't want to wind kids up before bed. You don't want to get them too much on TV, technology. You want to get yourself kind of cooled down. You want to move yourself from sympathetic, where you're up here, and you want to bring yourself down into parasympathetic. So how do you do that with kids? Well, you have to have cool down time where we're going to get you off of TV or off of technology. Second step, we're going to go have a bath. We're going to go put on our PJs. We're going to brush our teeth. We're going to read a story, and you're going to go to sleep. So like there's this landing process. But with adults, it's like, okay, we're going to be on TV. We're going to be on our phone. We're going to watch the news. We're going to go on YouTube. We're going to go on TikTok. We're going to go on this. So it's just, now I'm going to eat. And we stay here and we're trying to go to bed like this and you can't. Okay, so poor nighttime practices is poor sleep. If you're eating late, watching TV, you're on your phone. I've done this lots, okay? I know how this works. It's just how it's gonna work. So you wanna set the mood. Dimming the lights 1 hour before bedtime. Now, if you're in the winter months, this is a little easier, right? It's much easier to dim the lights because they already are. Turning off distractions, keep it quiet. My dad always used to say, okay, it's quiet time now, slowing down, not working anymore, not answering emails, not checking texts, not going on social media. Reading a book is great. I wish I could be better at this. I've been into listening to podcasts, but I think even listening would be better. So if you're, you're not like watching, but even if you can just listen to a podcast, something to just calm you down, or like listen to a book, something that could be good as well. And then just forming your own routine that involves calming yourself down. One thing that's really good, a really good investment, would be investing in blackout blinds for your room so that you can have your space be as dark as possible. Okay, this is interesting. Came across this video and then did my own little research on different statistics. Did you know that there's some studies that show that the majority of Americans think that they basically ask people like, do you think taking a shower or bath in the morning or at night is the right thing to do? And funny enough, it was very close, but it was a majority of people thought at night was better. I'm like, oh my gosh, like I take a shower in the morning. I always thought it's good to like wake up in the morning and have a shower and get the oils off you and get cleaned up and you feel fresh. But I was even doing research, like a lot of dermatologists even recommend having a bath and shower at night to get the dirt off you before bed. And I kind of see both schools of thought there. I guess I was talking with someone recently, they said the school of thought with having your shower or bath at night, one is that you're going to be clean going into bed. And two is similar to like when you're younger, having a bath just automatically calms you down. Now I'm an adult man, I don't really have a lot of baths, but even like having a shower, it does help to calm you down, similar to when you're a child, having that as part of your routine. So you may want to consider that. Putting the phone down, I can be very, very guilty of this. So phones, laptops, tablets, the light from these inhibit melatonin production. So like you're essentially staring at a light bulb, okay? It also puts your brain in sensory deprivation. You can look up a PDF book. It's fairly short, but it's called 4 Arguments for the Elimination of Television. It was like a thesis that was done. I'm going to repeat that: 4 arguments for the elimination of television. And one of the arguments was that they would have people under a functional MRI, which is like actively analyzing people's brain waves as they're looking at a stimulus. And they found that people had about the same amount of brain waves staring at their phone or TV as they did at a light bulb. So it puts you in what's called sensory deprivation. That's why you see people on their phone a lot. They almost look like this, they're like a zombie. What do they call it? Like a doom scroll, when you're just on your phone and you're just keep scrolling, you keep scrolling, and it's almost like you can't stop. Or like people, I'm not on TikTok, thankfully, but like YouTube Shorts, I can get caught up in that. You get watching one video, then the next, then the next. it basically tricks, yeah, it tricks your brain. And the other thing too is, and this is one thing I have been good with, do not bring your phone in with you to bed. So here's the saying here: what fires together wires together, or things that your brain will correlate different things into a habit. So let me give you an example. Your bed should be for sleep, and it should be for making babies. That's pretty much it. It should not be your office. It should not be where you're on your phone. It should not be where you're on your computer, because your brain associates different things with different things. So your brain should associate your bed with sleep, so that when you lay down, you're like, oh, I'm laying down now, it's time to go to sleep. Versus, oh, I'm laying down now, it's time to check my email, it's time to check my social media. So basically, your phone will trick your brain into thinking your bed is just another spot to get things done. Because when you're on there, you're getting those dopamine hits, whether it's from notifications or likes or new videos. So you want to retrain your brain so it knows that your bed is for sleeping, not for working. So have your bedroom be your sleep sanctuary, not your work sanctuary. So just have like a rule. Like for me, my phone goes downstairs. I have my charger station is downstairs in the kitchen. My phone goes off at night and it's plugged in and charging. Okay, now it may stay on if like my kids are on a sleepover at their grandparents or something, or like I'm separate from my family. Yes, I may keep my phone on, but as long as the loved ones that I know are under my roof and protected by me, I don't need my phone. Some people say, oh, well, what if something happens? I'm like, well, if it's not to my core of people, I can find out about it in the morning. I'm not 911. I'm not a paramedic. I'm not a police officer. Like I don't need to be woken up in the middle of the night by, people's emergencies. This is one that making your bed. There was one study that found that if you make your bed each day, you're 19% more likely to get better sleep most nights. So making a habit in the mornings to keep that habit going. Again, I believe this is just all about habits. If you have the habit of waking up, you make your bed. It's just about training your body and training your brain that your bed is like, there's certain tasks that happen in the morning and at night. Okay, when I wake up, I make my bed. When I'm going to sleep, I take the covers off, I'm going to sleep. Am I good at this? Do I make my bed every day? I used to argue with my parents. They were probably so fed up with me because I would say like, why do you have to make your bed? Like, I don't understand. What's the point? You're just going to bed in it anyways 12 hours later. And my parents would always say, well, it's for discipline. I'm like, all right, well, that's something I can improve upon. Consistent timing. If you're getting the Monday morning blues, so these are some signs. If you're getting the Monday morning blues, or you're sleeping later on the weekends, your internal clock becomes messed up. You want to keep your internal clock very consistent. And this is something that, again, kids have helped me with. My daughter, she wakes up at 6:15 like clockwork. So I'm waking up at 6:15 every day. It doesn't matter if it's Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. It's like she's getting up at the same time. And so you have to make sure, like, and I tell young parents this too, people who are new parents. It's like, listen, when your kids go to bed, you have to have a stopwatch in your brain that's starting. Like, if you're staying up really late, they're getting up. Like, you got to get your time in. You got to get your sleep in. Removing interferences is step 3. And this is where your nervous system comes in and stress comes into your nervous system and your spine. So start with stress. Stress impacts your brain. So when the body perceives stress, it triggers the release of stress hormones like cortisol and adrenaline. In the short term, they can enhance alertness and focus, but chronic stress can lead to lasting damage. Prolonged exposure to high levels of stress hormone can impair memory and cognitive function, shrink your brain cells in key areas like the hippocampus, so that's for learning and remembering, and disrupt the communication between brain regions. So when you are stressed, your hippocampus, which is located around here, its ability to remember is impaired. So like, you think of kids with ADHD or not being able to focus in class, a lot of the time it's because their brain is under stress. You see adults, whether they're dealing with Alzheimer's disease, dementia, problem recalling information, that's a sign their brain's been under stress for a very long time. So again, this all results in difficulties with learning, concentration, sleep, and emotional regulation. So it's imperative that I'm not going to sit here and tell you that all your stress is going to go away. That's impossible. But you have to come up with peace management techniques to manage, not eliminate stress, because we're not going to eliminate stress. There's just realities to the world. There's realities to your life that are not going to change. So you have to be able to handle the stress by setting up, I don't know what the plural word for oasis is, but I like to say that you want to set up oases throughout your week so that you're not just treating yourself or giving yourself a reward on the weekend through a cool experience or by going away, or you're putting all your eggs in one basket on the weekend or on a vacation. Why not set something up during the week that's fun for you to do? Going for a cup of coffee with a friend, taking a walk, a phone call, I don't know, going to the shooting range, going golfing, going gardening. Do things that you love to do even during the week so that you can put more wax on the candle so that you can start to manage this stress, not just try to eliminate it. Because how many times have we all done this where we're like, oh man, once these kids get to college, or once I'm lose weight, or once I'm 50, or once I'm 60, or once I retire, once I this, once I that, you know, it doesn't come. It doesn't come. So you have to live in the now. You have to focus on it now. Okay, one of the most common questions I get is, oh, you can't really see here. This is called the free faller. These are the most common sleeping positions. People ask me, what is the best way to sleep? The best way to sleep is on your back. So the soldier, and you want to, for patients, you know what I'm talking about, you want to have your sleep rolls, the large one under your neck, the small one under your back. Ideally, eliminating the need for a pillow. So your head should be touching the mattress with the roll under your neck. This takes time. In your home care resource booklet, it says it can take up to 6 months or more. There's times, I've been doing this home care stuff for 12 years. There's times where I actually don't know where my neck roll is right now. I got to find it. So, you know, I'm human too. This stuff, they move around a lot. I'm very good with using the low back roll. I can be better with using my neck roll. Some of the worst sleeping positions would be sleeping on your belly, but then also if you are going to sleep on your side, go more like this position, the log or the urinal. I don't know why they call it that. But you'll want to if you're sleeping on your side, have a pillow that's thicker so that your head is not tilting one way or the other. And then also put a pillow between your knees so that it keeps your pelvis open, so that your legs aren't crossing. Okay, and if you are going to sleep on your back with a pillow, get a thin pillow so that your head is not being pushed forward. Also, if you are going to sleep on your side, do not go into the fetal position. When you do, that's going to tighten up your hip flexors. If you look at the picture of this woman here, her hips are coming forward. That's shortening the hip flexor here, and that's going to lead to a tight lower back when you wake up, because this hip flexor is shortened. So again, going into the log or the soldier, a lot of this stuff you cannot control. I understand that once you're sleeping, but if you can at least start out on your rolls, move to your side, put a pillow between your legs, do the best that you can so that you're not hurting yourself while you're sleeping. Subluxation is misalignment of the spine. So you can imagine if someone's sleeping in an improper position, they're sitting on a computer all day long, they're sitting the majority of the day, they're not getting their body active, that's going to interfere with not only their spine, but also brain neurology. So essentially, your nervous system is continually sending information about your body to your brain and then back down through to your body. When your spine is out of alignment, so you can see here is the brain and the spinal cord. The spinal cord is like an electrical wiring, and your spine is like an electrical conduit that surrounds and protects the nervous system. It's the only system in your body completely covered by bone. And so making sure that your spine can move and bend and not be in misalignment is imperative to make sure that all this is functioning well. because when you have misalignment on your spine, it sends stress signals or pain signals to your brain. That leads to a phenomenon called dysponesis, where essentially if your spinal cord is stressed because of your spine being out of alignment, that's going to lead to a stressed brain. That's going to move you over into this sympathetic response, which we don't want because that's going to affect our sleep. You're moving into fight or flight. This is where some people listening, like you feel like you're doing everything right, but if your spine's out of alignment, you're in fight or flight. Okay? Now, when people get adjusted, that starts to take pressure off of their spinal cord or nerves. That starts to move them over into parasympathetic nervous system. I could tell you dozens of stories, but I'll tell you one just recently of a lovely young lady who just started. Her name is Lauren at the office. She allowed me to share her story. She's only been adjusted about 2 or 3 weeks. And almost immediately, before coming in to get adjusted, would deal with periodic back pain, neck tension, some headaches, but also sleep issues. Without changing anything else other than getting her spine adjusted, her sleep is like 80+% better. She's sleeping through the night. She's not waking up in pain. Because here's the thing is that you can do all these things right. You can change your morning routines, your eating routines, your habits, your rituals, but if your spine's out of alignment and your body's physically in pain, your hips are out, your neck is out, you're dealing with headaches, you're gonna wake up in the middle of the night because you're in pain. And on top of that, you're under stress, even if you're not in pain. So if you notice like you're stiff, you're sore, your neck is tight, that's going to impair your sleep. So for Lauren, but just through those handful of adjustments, she's already sleeping better. And because she's sleeping better, guess what? Energy's better, mood is better, overall well-being, aura, if you will, is better because moving over here to the right side into the parasympathetic nervous system. Healing, quality balanced hormones, good immune function, sleep, mood, relaxation. And that is influenced by chiropractic care. So again, I named some of them. These are some of the warning signs of subluxation, misalignment. And for patients listening to this is imperative to make sure that you're keeping up with your chiropractic visits, making your appointments, and if you're missing an appointment, to make sure that you're not just skipping it or canceling it, but that you're actually rescheduling it, keeping up with your frequency. We don't just give you your frequency out of a hat like it's specific to you. And then the other thing is making sure that you're doing your home care exercises. By doing your home care exercises, that's going to help to correct your neck, your lower back, get things moving well so that you can feel better, so that you can start to sleep more soundly. So here's your action steps. Number 1, unplugging 30 minutes before bed. No phones in the bedroom. Like that, if you did anything else, just like no phone in the bedroom, no technology in the bedroom. The bedroom is for sleep and making babies. That's it. That's number 1. Number 2, or I could say practicing making babies. That's going to sound funny as I rehear that at the office. Number 2, blacking out your sleep sanctuary. So like blackout blinds are really good. Making sure that there's not a lot of light, whether it's artificial like street lamps and things like that, or moonlight or sunlight coming in. When you want to sleep, you want to get things as dark as possible. Waking up at the same time each morning. I know this is not fun to hear. You know, there's times on the weekend you want to sleep in, but it's so much better for your circadian rhythm if you can wake up at that similar time. So if you go to bed at 10 and you wake up at 6, try to keep that consistent on the weekends, and you'll notice a better change on Monday. Because again, as I shared earlier, the Monday morning blues, when you're not feeling good on Monday, it's because you weren't sleeping properly or you were outside of your normal rhythm. You're staying up till midnight on Friday and Saturday night, and then you got to wake up early Monday morning and you don't feel good. So you want to make sure that you're being consistent. Lowering the bedroom temperature, research shows that it's between 65 to 68 degrees is ideal. You don't want it to be too warm in the bedroom because that's going to keep you up at night. I like to be a little cooler. Our house is at about 68, 67 to make sure that we're not up during the night. And that's especially important for kids too. Make your bed every morning. I can be better at this. Again, this is more for habit. Your bed is your sleep sanctuary. So making your bed is just another way that you're forming a good habit, and you're you're wiring together the fact that your brain knows that my bed is for sleep and I'm going to take care of my sleep sanctuary. Reducing or eliminating caffeine to make sure that you're not dependent upon caffeine to get through the day. So if you have found yourself saying like, I need coffee to live, like that's not good. You're addicted to it. So you want to reduce or eliminate caffeine consumption. And like I suggested, instead of doing 4 cups a day, go to 2. Instead of going from 2, go to 1. Instead of doing 1, maybe switch to green tea or chai tea or white tea to reduce that caffeine intake over time. And by reducing it, you're going to avoid the withdrawals that can come with that. No sugar or alcohol within 2 hours of bedtime. And really, if you can eliminate it altogether, would be great, but especially important 2 hours before bed. Exercising daily, even if it's something small, a walk around the block, a stretching routine. It doesn't have to be a real intense workout, but moving your body every day is just so important for sleep. And then also taking magnesium glycinate and sleep and mood formula. As I said, think of magnesium as helping you to stay asleep and sleep and mood as helping to get you to sleep and to also regulate your mood, especially in the winter months. If you deal with seasonal affective disorder like I used to, that's something that can really help you out. And lastly, keeping up with your chiropractic appointments. Getting adjustments is proven to help to activate your parasympathetic nervous system, to relax your body, to get it out of pain, functioning and moving better. So I realize there's a lot of steps here. I'm a very pragmatic person. Pick 1 or 2 of them. Pick 1 or 2 of them and start from there. I like to say pick your one thing. If you could choose, looking through this list, if you could choose only one thing such that everything else would be easier or unnecessary, what would you do? If you could choose only one thing to do, what would you do? Pick that thing and do that. That's your first domino, and you're going to notice big change from that. So I hope this has helped you. If you want to contact us or ask us any question about this, you can grab one of our business cards up front with our email. Dr. Chris and I are the only one who checks our practice email, so it's confidential. Or you can just reach out to any one of us at any time, ask us questions, and we can help you to move to the next level with your sleep and incorporating these 5 essentials into your life. So guys, signing off, it's Dr. Greg.